good afternoon everybody. Welcome to this webinar. It's all about starting your project career journey is how we're positioning this, because all the qualifications support project managers throughout their careers, and we're going to talk about that during the course of today. We're delighted to partner with APM to deliver this first of a series of 4 webinars talking about the different project management qualifications. Our organisation, Novare Consulting, we deliver projects and programs for our clients, but we also help to build the capability of those clients as well by structuring methodologies and competencies. We also fundamentally develop people through our extensive training program with a number of certifications, all to do with projects and program and portfolio management. We have a wide range of certifications and accreditations by a number of different professional bodies, which enables us to draw upon best practice from a wide variety that best suits the industries and sectors that our clients operate in. One of the more popular of these is the APM, the series of courses on offer, and that's of course what our focus for today is going to be all about. We're a family-owned business, as you might have understood from the introduction. Chris and Sean Ferguson, my husband and wife team. We started the business, founded in 2002, and we've contributed over that time to delivering some significant projects and programs for our customers, training thousands of people over the 14 years we've been going so far. And we also helped contribute to some of the popular global methodologies such as Prince2 and MSP during that period of time, backed up also with developing and working on the competence framework for the APM, and also looking at some of the qualifications for the APM going forward into 2017. We advise lots of organisations in different sectors on improving their delivery of projects and programs. And Sean's focus as our Director of Training has been to take the lead on all of the training accreditations and the training programs we deliver for our customers. I'd like to hand you over to Sean now to talk you through the next few slides.
Hi, welcome everybody. As Chris has already said, we are very proud to be partnering with APM in delivering the series of qualifications webinars for the refreshed name changes in 2017. We were very keen to think about these webinars as a career journey. We all develop throughout our careers, professionally and hopefully academically as well. And with project management being such a new profession, it's very important that we take our certifications very, very seriously. And we now have a big goal to aim for, the final milestone as it were, which is the new chartership that APM will be bringing on stream throughout the year. And that's a very exciting development for the profession, and we're very proud to have supported APM through that journey to gaining chartership, and very proud indeed of them in their persistence in achieving that goal. So we're thinking very much about your project management career as a journey, but that means that you are in the driving seat for this journey. And that's a very important message for all of you out there starting your project management career. You are the drivers of your professional development, and it is very much in your hands to influence those who can support you in that development to selecting the right qualifications for your journey, and also to think about the experience that you need to supplement the qualifications as you go through your career. So one of the big important decisions that you face when you're selecting qualifications to support your experience is which of the professional bodies should you select. In the UK, there are 3 leading professional bodies. We have Axelos, who are the new company who have the old Cabinet Office Best Management Practice set of certifications. There's PMI, still reasonably new to the UK, but very much the most popular US-based project management institute. And then we have APM, who we're partnering with today. APM has a strong reputation both locally in the UK, but indeed globally through their membership of the International Project Management Association, also known as IPMA. That international membership can be very important for some clients who need to benchmark UK-based qualifications against those delivered in other countries. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. So what we have at this point is a decision about which professional body delivers the qualifications that supports your career development. And it might not just be you as an individual, it might be for your teams or those that you mentor or coach. So this is a key decision. With that in mind, let's have a think about what the strengths of the various professional bodies are. They all have excellent qualification sets, but all the qualification sets have different USPs or unique selling points. The Axelos qualification set has Prince 2, globally the most popular project management qualification, with over 1 million people certified at this point. However, this qualification set is very much based on methods and processes. So if we continue the journey theme, if you need a route map to managing a project, Prince 2 gives you an excellent route map. What it doesn't provide you with are the tools and techniques, the driving skills, as it were, to navigate that route map. So that's something to consider for an organisation. If you already have an in-house method, or indeed use Prince 2 or Agile, then what you really need for your teams and for yourselves are the tools and techniques to be able to navigate that route map. PMI has a combination of the skills and techniques and again its own route map through a project. It is a slightly convoluted route map, and although very popular in the US, that route map hasn't really taken off here in the UK just yet. So that brings us through to APM, and with its over 500 corporate members, this very much is the professional body that is speaking to the large corporate organisations. APM are very inclusive and include those corporate members in their work to develop the qualifications further and to develop the new product sets that they put out onto the market. Also, there are 22,000 individual members here in the UK. So at the moment, it is the APM who are very much speaking for the profession here in the UK. And with charter status being confirmed, that really means that APM are leading the profession in the UK for project management. So why choose the APM qualifications? Well, as we've already said, APM have a strong conversation with the corporate organisations that are members, and indeed with wider corporate organisations as well. And the qualifications have been built around a very sensible structure. There is one body of knowledge, the APM body of knowledge. That is now further supported by the refreshed APM competence framework. And in addition, a wraparound to that, there is a clear career development pathway and role descriptions also provided by the APM. That career development pathway and role descriptions is not just confined to project management, it also encompasses program management, portfolio management, and indeed the PMO. So with the APM qualifications, there's a very much a coherent structure to build a career around. And that structure is also progressive. The qualifications flow from one to the other. And today we're focusing on the introductory qualification, the APM PFQ. And as we've already mentioned, the qualifications also focus on what project managers really need to have at their fingertips to be able to deliver their projects. So the webinar series will involve 4 webinars, and today we are on the first milestone, as we've described it, the APM Project Fundamentals Qualification. The next webinar and the next milestone for a career is the Project Management Qualification, which used to be known as the APMP. This is recognised globally as an IPMA Level D qualification and is very much something for all of us to aim towards. Following on, still thinking about non-complex projects, we're going to be talking about the new qualification from 2016, the APM Project Professional Qualification. And that qualification is examined by competence rather than information recall. And I'm sure that you'll be very excited to hear more about that when we deliver that webinar later this year. And then the final milestone for this particular webinar series is the Registered Project Professional webinar, where we're talking to people working in complex project environments, which might include program management. So these are our milestones on our project management journey that we're working with APM on. So what does a successful journey need? And what we do need is that route map that we've already talked about. And that route map might be derived from something like Prince2, it could be Agile, or it could be something that your organization has built up over the years. It might even be a product-based approach, such as lifecycle management. But to be able to navigate that route map, we really very much need some driving skills. So for that, we're starting today with the APM Project Fundamentals Qualification, which brings to project managers the skills, tools and techniques that they need to navigate their project journey. But together with the training, we also need some real-life experience to help us on our way. And then as part of your APM PFQ journey, you'll be taking the exam. And that means once you pass the exam, you can tear up your learner badge and move forward to driving skillfully through your projects. And we'd ask you, even at this stage of your career, for those of you new to project management, to think about APM membership. If full membership isn't appropriate at this time, then there's student membership and associate membership, which might be good to consider at this point in your career. So who is this PFQ qualification for? Well, it's very much for those who are new to project management, and we certainly recommend this qualification to our large corporate clients for all their graduate trainees and apprentices, and we've had a fantastic take-up from that. The graduates and apprentices very much enjoy the training course, and because they're also fantastic at passing exams, being that part of their career, their exam success has been remarkable. But what it also means is that project management is growing in popularity. Whatever the job family the graduate trainees are going to be working in, the employers recognize that they will be delivering projects or working in projects at some stage in their career. So the APM PFQ is an excellent starting point for those starting out on their career journey in project management. But not just for those new to project management, it might be for those working on project teams who have been maybe working with projects for many years but never had a formal qualification. What the APM PFQ provides is that formal structure and explanation of the tools and techniques that you will need to be a productive, proactive project team member. And it's also for those, we like to call them accidental project managers. Might be engineers, might be software developers who find themselves working in a project environment. And the APM PFQ is very much there to provide them with everything that they need to work in the project environment, and has a sensible size syllabus for people in those roles. But I think what makes this a truly unique qualification, and I think it does stand out from the crowd with all the certifications, as you've seen, that we hold, is I think it's the only truly introductory project management qualification in the marketplace. You don't need any prior experience or knowledge to take the qualification, but at the same time it's got a very comprehensive syllabus that is a challenge for those who haven't yet taken any other project management qualifications, but it is a central side syllabus to provide a great start to your project management career. And to explain a little bit more about the syllabus in more detail, I'm going to pass you on to Chris now.
Well, as you can see on the screen in front of you, there are 10 learning outcomes upon which this qualification is centered. And I'm going to go through each of them in turn on the next series of slides to explain more about it. But as Sean has just said, it's a very suitable qualification for people at their entry point into the profession, or very experienced people who just need to add that kind of structure around the experience they've already gained in terms of running projects. You can see from the list in front of you as well that these topics would apply to any type of project, and I think that's particularly important as well. It lends itself to those of you who are working in engineering environments, those of you in IT, software, business change projects, all types of environment. And it also lends itself well to those of you in different commercial settings, because some of you will be selling projects to your customers and delivering for your customers. It gives you a tool set to work with in that regard. Some of you will be delivering projects that you're doing within your own organizations, business change projects, if you will. So regardless of the type of project, these topics are universal and therefore applicable to all these types of projects, which is what makes this qualification such a valuable entry-level qualification to the profession. So if we go through those topics in turn, the first topic, is around the project management and the environment. So this one is really where we cover off the definitions, if you will, of what is a project, what is a program, what are the differences between projects and programs, what is a portfolio and what on earth would be in one of those. And portfolios contain programs and projects and also balanced off with business as usual. And then alongside that, we discussed briefly governance and the role of program offices. P3O stands for project, program and portfolio offices, and the roles and the purposes of those aspects as well. All linked in with the strategy of the organisation. And the two techniques that we discuss in this particular regard would be around PESTLE and SWOT analysis. And these are two techniques which I think in the workplace are really valuable. Too often you see that people study them on courses, think they're a good idea, but then never actually do them in practice. So those are all the topics covered off under project management and the environment. The second topic of the project life cycle is summarised on this slide. There is a project life cycle which covers off, as you can see, the concept of the project, actually thinking it through before leaping into detailed planning and coming up with an initial business case view of what the project is going to potentially be justified by. Then defining the project, the development of all of the plans and the engagement with stakeholders, developing the requirements into solutions. And then that leads into the development of the project itself, in other words, doing the work. And development is a generic term that covers what you might call implementation. It doesn't lock itself into any particular life cycle, so you can use this in an engineering product life cycle management approach, you could use it in an agile approach or waterfall approach, so you can add different life cycles to this, a very generic life cycle here. And that's what distinguishes this approach from the more methods-focused examinations, such as those offered with Prince 2 under Axelos, and also with the project management practitioner qualifications and the APM qualification by the PMI, much more method intensive. You can see the extended project life cycle. We talk about benefits realization. So for as long as the project determines that benefits need to be realized, that's the extended project life cycle. And then the life of the operation of the product that you have created, whatever that product may be. It could be a new office, a new building, a new system, an aeroplane. However long that product is operated for, at the end when that product is terminated, that is known as the product life cycle. The other thing that we cover off in this topic are the different types of reviews. And again, these reviews are expressed in the APM body of knowledge language. Typically people would then take those way back into the workplace and maybe call them different names, but certainly there's a good starting point. Some key ones around gate reviews, which are go, no-go decision points in the life cycle, as you can see right up front. Fairly crucial to get those right. Periodic reviews throughout each of the development stages. A review at the end of the project, the bit that everybody forgets to do, to learn lessons about how well the project has performed. And then a series of benefits review, which even fewer people seem to do these days, around did we realize the benefits of the change the project was supposed to bring about. So that's the life cycle explained a little. The roles and responsibilities is the next topic. This is the generic APM structure for a project. All projects should have a sponsor who can provide cash and resources to the project to make decisions about the project. Potentially there may be a steering group on a bigger project which the sponsor would chair. The project manager works on behalf of the sponsor to deliver for the users of the project that which is required by them, and the users will be the beneficiaries of the changes that the project brings about. They'll also be the ones who tell the project manager what their requirements happen to be. Easy to say on a course, harder to do in practice. Then the project manager may be in charge of suppliers externally to the organisation, and may have project team members. On a larger project you may have a series of work package managers or team managers. And again, if I look at this structure, I would see that the project team members or the team leaders, this qualification gives them a shared common language with the project manager, which what makes this qualification so broad in its appeal to a wide variety of people in different roles. Clearly what the course covers is an explanation of what all of these different individuals and teams happen to do during the life of a project. The next topic is around planning, and this is not scheduling as such, that comes a little later on. This is planning in the round, thinking about the initial business case for the project. What's the vision for the project? What benefits are we trying to get out of it? What do the success criteria look like for the project? So in other words, setting out what good looks like. and having a big think about the project before leaping in and starting to do work on the project. So a wide variety of topics covered off in the planning context, and getting the context from the PESTEL and SWOT analysis, developing plans accordingly, and coming up with targets and dates and those sorts of things in the round. So this is the thinking bit. Scope management. Clearly the scope of a project is developed in response to requirements. And I just quite happen to like this daft cartoon. I'm sure some of you will have seen it before. But clearly how the customer explains the requirements can often be misinterpreted by different stakeholders involved in the project's life. And as you can see, the project manager understood it in a slightly different way. It was designed even more differently. How the programmer wrote it, the consultant described it, which is my personal favourite slide there. How it was documented, a bit like most real projects, what operations installed, very different once more. How the customer was billed, how it was supported, and what the customer really needed. And all of this tells us that if you don't integrate all of these different participants in the project together, whether they're team members or stakeholders, you're going to get this misinterpretation around the scope of the project. Fundamentally, we use different variety of breakdown structures on this course to identify what is in scope and what is out of scope, and make that crystal clear. So useful technique to pin down what the project is there to achieve. Once you've got the scope understood, then you can start doing the scheduling and resource management, because you can use the work breakdown structure that you've developed as part of the scope, which sets out what the solution looks like and the activities to get there. And then scheduling and resource management live very much hand in hand. I quite often have seen on projects and programs people developing a schedule with no resources. And fundamentally, that's simply not going to work. It's more of a wish than a schedule. So scheduling and resource management, different techniques I'm sure you'll have come across. Gantt charts, critical path analysis, network analysis. Estimating is a fundamental part of this, both resources as well as scheduling. And then in terms of resource management, using techniques such as resource smoothing and resource leveling to model the different effects of changes and shifts in resourcing. Now clearly software tools do a lot of this in reality, but what this course does is teach you effectively what good practice is when putting all this information into these software tools. The exam itself is software tool agnostic, so it doesn't matter what piece of project management software your organizations happen to use. This teaches you the techniques that you need to understand when looking at entering data and interpreting data in these particular tool sets. So any good project, things may go wrong. The things that might go wrong we know as risks, and the things that have gone wrong we know as issues. And in the course we cover off both risks and issue management. Most organizations have approaches to deal with risks, but covered off in this particular topic also is the flip side of a risk, which we know as opportunities. So this is about identifying risks and opportunities, analysing them with regards to their likelihood and their impact upon the project, and then figuring out what to do about it, and then actually doing that thing to reduce the risks and also to increase the opportunities. Clearly, if that didn't work, then your risks may turn into a negative event, which is known as an issue. And issues, some issues are things that project managers can resolve, some may be escalated to sponsors for them to resolve on behalf of the project manager on a more formal basis. But issues need acting on immediately, and their impact assessing and so forth. So we cover off the techniques in the course to cover off both risk and issue management. Another important factor in any project is that of quality and achieving fitness for purpose. But the APM view of quality in the body of knowledge is slightly broader than the fitness for purpose. Clearly it's important to exercise quality control on the project so that you produce fit for purpose products and fit for purpose solutions that deliver against the scope. But the APM also cover off, and this course addresses these topics also, the idea of having a quality plan for the project. So you plan to invest in the right tests for the work that you're doing. The quality assurance independently from the work being done to make sure that quality is appropriately applied, and the business of continual improvement, which links very nicely into things like lessons learned, because on any project you should always make new mistakes rather than repeat the mistakes of the past. So the course covers off quality management in a comprehensive fashion. Again, all good techniques for project managers to know and understand so we can deliver to time, to cost and to quality, managing the resources and the risks to deliver the scope. The 9th out of 10 topics is that of communication. And this is again where this particular qualification differs from Prince 2 in particular, because Prince 2 doesn't talk about the people-oriented skills. It gives you a great methodology to follow, but this is where the APM's Fundamentals Qualification starts to distinguish itself. And communications is really the giving and receiving of information. And on projects these days, that information could be sent in many different forms using many different communications channels. You might also need to develop a communications plan for the project to engage properly with the stakeholders impacted by it, and then continue to execute that plan during the life of the project and continue to engage with the stakeholders as well. Important aspects of any project manager's toolset. Some might say the most important aspect is the continued business of communications. We also talk about the formal reporting lines as part of the reviews that take place during the life cycle of the project as well, to make sure the reporting satisfies the information needs of those stakeholders who need information to do with the project. The final learning outcome from the Fundamentals Qualification is that of leadership and teamwork. Two aspects to consider here. Project managers, although they're called project managers, also need to do a lot of leading, which is a different skill set, involves inspiring and motivating the team. And a lot of project managers also need to exercise great teamwork because they don't own the resources that they have temporarily for the period of the project. Very often in a functional organisation, project managers beg, borrow and steal resources from functional managers. So developing the negotiating skills to achieve that, the teamwork skills to achieve that is essential as a quality to develop. Similarly, in developing a team, we go to simple models for developing a team, such as Tuckman's model of team development, the forming, storming, norming and performing model. We talk about different leadership approaches and adapting your leadership styles to suit different stakeholders, different situations. So there's a good grounding here in project leadership and project teamwork. Transferable skills that could be taken into any role in any function, in fact. So that's a quick whiz through all of the topics that are covered in terms of the learning outcomes to be achieved. All 10 of those are examined topics in terms of the exam itself. So let's talk about that one. In terms of the PFQ exam, it's a 1-hour multiple choice exam. It's fundamentally a knowledge test based on the course content and based on your knowledge of all 10 learning outcomes. It's multiple choice, and there are 60 mandatory questions. So we encourage people to do all 60 questions. It's very rare for people to run out of time, but 60 questions in 1 hour, of course, is a minute per question. Doesn't sound like a long time, but some questions, it's fair to say, are easier than others. Some questions do require people to think a lot harder about what is being asked. To achieve a pass in the exam, it's 60% is required, or 36 out of 60 or more than that. And that's quite a high pass mark. However, having said that, our pass rate in terms of exam success is 99.5% across everybody we've trained in, every client over the 14 years, which I think is a phenomenal result. Exams, as you can see, can be taken by paper in a classroom, so the exam forms part and parcel of the course that we deliver. Or the exams could be taken online if that's your preference. In either respect, the exam papers are marked by the APM with results sent back within 4 weeks. And given that exam success rate that we deliver, one would hope that anyone undertaking such an exam gets positive news. And if they did decide they wanted to have another go because they did fail the exam, then naturally you could go around and do the course over again to relearn the topics, get them fresh in your mind and resit the examination. There are no hurdles or rules about when you might choose to do that. In terms of your route map then, there are a wide variety of approaches to achieving the PFQ. A lot of it may be determined by how you prefer personally to study, and we're all different in that regard. Some enjoy the interaction the classroom brings, and we deliver a range of classroom-based courses for our clients. We get good interaction going between delegates. The case studies underpin some of the techniques that people learn as well. And that's great for people to have a go at some of the techniques if they're learning them for the first time. E-learning is in addition to self-study, is for those who have a preference for doing that or for logistical reasons would need to do that as well. We offer a blended range of these in terms of the preferences to study. Lots of organisations also have a training program for project managers. So even if it's not your function within the organisation, project management that is, it may be that you're asked to run a project as part of your day-to-day role, and therefore could jump onto the training program set up for project managers. We run a number of academies for project managers across the UK for large organisations, and pretty well all of them start with this APM Fundamentals Qualification as the entry point into that career structure. There are a number of accredited providers, and the APM website will give you details of all of those, and we're one of them. Then choose what you prefer to do, and then book yourself on what you need to book on, and have a go at the exams. They're normally taken during the course if it's classroom-based, or you can go to a designated exam centre if that's your preference. But pretty well all of our clients go for the classroom-based courses, because people can learn from one another and take part in activities and exercises to supplement the knowledge that's being learned. So from knowledge, you start to generate some of the skills needed and some more useful takeaways for people to actually use back in the workplace. So we find that tends to work best. Why would organisations want to invest in the Project Fundamentals Qualification? Well, as Sean said earlier on, it's suitable for graduate trainees and apprentices, so those who are stepping into their careers in organisations. It's very suitable for them, and a lot of our clients take the view it doesn't matter what the discipline that the graduate trainee or the apprentice are moving into. At some point in their career, they'll be asked to work on a project or to run a project. A lot of graduate trainees and apprentices get to run small projects anyway. So it's very, very suitable for those stepping in to the sort of project profession. And it's a transferable set of skills that can be reused on other projects as well. It gives a standard lexicon of terms for project and program management. So there are some standard terms, as you saw earlier in my slides, in terms of the names of the reviews, the life cycle steps that you go through. And that gives a good structure if organisations don't have a structure or a consistent approach for how they run their projects and programs. The 10 learning outcomes are the key project and program management skills. On master entry level, in terms of a knowledge test, it's suitable for all job families, and you can get some good consistency across the different functions. It's complementary to in-house methods, so we have used it with a variety of clients, some of whom, for example, have life cycle management because they're a product-oriented engineering kind of a business, but it supplements those because it focuses on the techniques. So the PFQ teaches very much how to deliver projects, and some of the in-house methods say what you need to do and when you need to do it, but not necessarily how you do it. It's a great stepping stone onto a career development pathway, and as you can see from the 4 webinars, this is the first of them that we're going to be doing, you can see a progressive career structure mapped onto those qualifications quite easily. APM are the largest PM professional body in Europe and the largest member of IPMA, and there are 500 corporate members already. So you, as an organisation, should you choose to become a corporate member, you get that shared knowledge and shared good practice for a whole range of APM special interest groups and so forth. In terms of those of you on the webinar who are individuals thinking about this as a qualification, it's an ideal starting point for anybody who's working in projects. You don't necessarily need to be running them, but that way as a team member you can better contribute to the management of the project and understand the project manager's job. It's a straight in, no prior experience or qualifications are necessary, but clearly you'll need to learn through a classroom-based or online learning the content required for the learning outcomes. It gives you the key skills. I like the fact it combines the technical skills around things like Gantt charts and network analysis together with the people-related skills like stakeholder engagement, communications. So it's a real rounded skill set suitable for any type of project and everybody working in projects. In terms of Scotland still have a level 6 qualification in terms of the like the NVQs, so it's consistent with that as a qualification level. It teaches you everything you need to know to run a small project. So if you're taking on a project and think, I don't know how I'm supposed to run a project, this is a great qualification to get you going. And you don't need to spend days and days and days on a course. It's a short course, 3 days or 2 days, depending on one's choice. As Sean said earlier on, becoming part of the APM, the largest project management professional body in Europe, that's something to be encouraged for all individuals on the call and also for the profession and the function within any organisation anyway. Get access to a whole range of resources and a whole range of different events that go on that you can go to learn more about project management profession. In terms of the feedback from delegates, when the APM surveyed a range of different delegates who had undertaken the Project Fundamentals Qualification, they got some great feedback. And 97% said the qualification gave them an excellent introduction to project management, which is precisely what the course is aiming to achieve. They achieved, in the vast majority, a broad understanding of the principles of the profession, which is an important point that comes across in the course. Pretty well everybody also would recommend the qualification to anyone starting out in project management, and you can't get much higher than a 97% recommendation rate. And 87% actually believe they can quickly make a contribution to the projects they're involved in. So in other words, they've taken away some of the skills and they can start to use them in practice. All hallmarks of a really effective project management qualification. So in terms of the next step, consider your PPM career journey. It may be you just want to do this qualification, but if you have a career in project and program management, you want to get in a car, start driving that car through the various milestones. This is the first milestone on that career. And think about your route through the other qualifications, more of which we'll tell you about in subsequent webinars. And look at the best training approach that works for you, and the one that you may be constrained within your organization to use particular approaches, or you may have a choice around the approaches you use. And then follow the plan, like any good project, of course. So you own the keys to your PPM career, and this qualification is a really useful starting point on that journey. So I hope this webinar has been useful for you, and a useful overview of the qualification, its purpose, its place in the career journey for project and program management professionals. The next qualification we talk about in the next webinar is the APM Project Management Qualification, which used to be called the APM Practitioner Qualification. It's been renamed. And we'll talk there about that exam, what's involved in that course and that qualification as the second milestone in your career journey. So we hope you enjoyed the webinar, and thank you very much indeed for your attendance. We're very happy to answer any questions you've got, and I'm going to hand over to Nathaniel now, who will have received a number of questions from you during this particular event.
Lovely, thank you, Chris. We've got a couple of questions of a technical nature, which I will explain and answer, if you like, and then we'll go on to the proper questions. So the first question that we had a couple of times is, will the presentation be available afterwards? And the answer to that is yes. Within a couple of days it'll be on our YouTube channel. And we also had a few people ask, will contact details be made available for Novare or for the presenters if people have questions they'd like to direct them directly themselves? And the answer is yes. On the email that we send out asking for feedback, there will be contact details. So the first question for yourself, Chris, is someone's emailed in and asked, what's the reason for doing this qualification over Prince 2 when Prince 2 is arguably more widely recognised?
Hi Nat, it's Sian here, and I'll take that question at this point because Chris might be seen to have a vested interest as he helped to write Prince 2 back in the 1990s. So from Novare Consulting's point of view, the reason for doing this qualification over the Prince 2 qualification is that this qualification gives you the tools and techniques to actively manage your projects. What we would suggest in an ideal world is that there is a relationship between APM and Axelos which acknowledges that Prince 2 and the APM qualification sets are in fact compatible. So in an ideal world with a large budget, it would be a good idea to take a Prince 2 qualification together with the APM qualifications. Prince 2 is only useful to you as a qualification if your organisation is using a method based on Prince 2. If your organisation has its own methodology for managing projects or indeed uses lifecycle management as an overarching framework, then Prince 2 could be seen to be contradictory even to that approach. So in this case, we would say very much that the APM qualifications, the PFQ, gives you the tools and techniques to manage your projects, and Prince 2 is something a little bit different that gives you a method through a project, a route map.
Thank you, Sian. Another question that's come in is the PFQ a mandatory prerequisite for going on to the PMQ qualification?
Ooh, we should let you answer that, Nat, but the answer is no, it is not. It's not mandatory, but it is a very, very useful stepping stone towards the PMQ qualification. The PMQ qualification is an essay-style 3-hour exam. It is a challenging and very comprehensive exam, and we do recommend to our clients that where possible people take the APM PFQ before attempting the PMQ, mainly because it is a very good introduction to the world of APM and to project management tools and techniques.
Thank you, Sian. The next question I've got is how long is the course, and can you become an APM member after the course, or do you have to do the PMQ qualification? Obviously I can answer that, but we'll leave it to you for the moment.
Thank you very much, Nat. The course is sometimes delivered over 2 days, but with our in-house corporate clients as Novare Consulting, we deliver it over 3 days, and that means very much going back to the previous question, we can include some elements of the methodology for that particular organisation, and then probably more importantly as well, include a case study and some exercises. So the 3-day course means we're not just thinking about exam cram, we're thinking about how we manage projects within that particular organisation, and we're giving people a chance to have a go at some of the tools and techniques. And certainly our case study that accompanies the PFQ has got an estimating part to the case study, and we've had some very weird and wacky estimates from some of the participants, which quite often produces quite a lot of hilarity as they then have to go on to try and deliver against those estimates through the rest of the case study. Just to prove that we do know how the membership works, Nat, as far as the membership goes, then technically no qualification is mandated, as I understand it, for APM membership. However, the qualifications do certainly support applications.
That's right. Thank you, Sian. Another question that's come in, so the individual has asked, as a project coordinator supporting a variety of projects, do you, Novare, offer supporting qualifications for them?
We would see this Project Management Fundamentals Qualification as a really useful qualification for a person in such a role. It gives them a great understanding of the language that all of those project managers are using, and clearly in a project coordinator's role they typically would be doing things like running risk and issues registers, dealing with plan updates, dealing with quality control tests and results of those tests. So understanding those 10 learning outcomes that we talked about, I think would equip a project coordinator really well.
We do also have bespoke courses that are designed to support those working in a coordinator role, but those courses aren't necessarily aligned with any particular certification. If you want to think more about how PMO operates, then there are certified courses around that area, and we do offer those as well.
Thank you both. Another question that's come in is, which qualification is preferable in O&G industry, Prince2 Foundation or APM PFQ?
If by O&G it means oil and gas, then the APM are the more dominant organisation in that market sector.
So just to sort of expand on that slightly, for the Prince2 Foundation qualification you have to learn the whole of the Prince2 manual, and that is a pretty hefty manual. Even though it's called a foundation qualification, the syllabus is big and very method focused, so it's not a true introductory qualification in our opinion. The APM PFQ provides that introductory qualification, and as Chris said, some of the leading oil and gas organisations are very, very much to the forefront of corporate membership with APM.
Thank you, Sian. Another question sort of following on from that is, which industries are these qualifications, the APM qualifications, most recognised within? Again, if you need any help with that, I can provide some information.
That's brilliant. So the APM qualifications are recognised across all industries, and indeed in the third sector and public sector. We have clients from from all of those sectors, ranging from very, very large engineering, global organisations, right through to charities in the third sector, who've all successfully taken and enjoyed and found the APM qualifications relevant. Have you got anything to add on that, Chris, at all?
I think there's less traction for the APM qualifications in the public sector than in the private sector on the whole. And if you look at those, the corporate members who obviously will support the delivery of the qualifications that the APM offers, they're typically large manufacturing, engineering, defence, research organisations, large companies of that nature.
Yes, thank you both. The only thing I'd add to that is that what virtually all the companies have in common when taking these or putting their staff through these qualifications is that they are very project management focused businesses where PM is seen as a key discipline, and that's what ties the different sectors together. A question that's more about your presentation style, and this is probably the final question we've got time for. Someone has asked, what software did you use to actually make the presentation dummies and the graphics, basically?
That's me, Charles Ferguson software. So we've used good old PowerPoint, but we do have access to things that will make the video clips that you've seen on the presentation. But it's something that I enjoy, and so I spend probably too long in making little video clips for our presentation. So they do feature in all of our training courses, and if you've enjoyed them, hopefully you'll see them on a training course soon.